Kirby Smart's team just won the national championship in each of the last 2 years, but he's going to have to do it with a new quarterback this year. Will it be Carson Beck or Brock Vandagriff? Good news is he's got another Brock, one of the best players in all of college football is back. Brock Bowers as his catch-all tight end, and he's got a brand new mascot. Boom! Makes his debut today as UGA 11. You're watching the SEC on ESPN. The next couple of hours, just like normal games, you have 4 15-minute quarters, a little shorter halftime, and the ball will be spotted at the 30-yard line. No rush on punts or field goals, and the clock will keep running. Oh, it's a Matt Stinchcomb dream come true. Hey, he's still here. He's not gone. He's not wearing pads anymore. He's a happy man, getting ready for the NFL draft next month.
Yeah, what's he got there? What are we rocking there today? Is that the polo? We got who knows what the NIL deal is post play.
Out in the middle of the field, we get the coaches so they can get a good look. Kirby appears to be kicking off, but he won't.
That would be a trip, right? That's what we need to introduce to these spring games. Coaches kick off.
Have the kick return guys stand a little closer. Jared Zirkle kicks it to Dylan Bell, but Bell is going to take off even without the football and run back past the 25, and they're going to start here at the 30-yard line. So, as we all have been talking about the last few weeks, what's going to happen with this quarterback battle? We mentioned Brock Vandagriff, we mentioned Carson Beck. Here comes Beck. Should we throw Gunnar Stockton into this too?
Well, he's out there, right? And it's interesting because we were talking to some of the defensive players yesterday. Zion Logue even brought Gunnar Stockton up. They see a lot of him down there on the scout team. They've been really impressed. But Carson Beck gets the nod. And it was interesting because the coaches pointed out, look, a couple of seasons ago, he got the most reps. He was the number 2 behind JT Daniel before they made the move to Stetson Bennett in 2021.
There is no left guard on the field as Georgia is going to take a delay of game on the first play. And they do that to honor the life of Devin Willock, who of course passed away in that crash. It also took the life of Chandler LaCroix. Certainly we think of Willock, LaCroix, and their families every single day. This program hard, as you can imagine. Many of Devin's teammates are thinking about him and will be motivated by him this season in 2023, especially those guys up front. We'll talk a lot about those guys, but more on Beck. As you said, he's got some experience. He played in 7 games last season. Stetson Bennett and the Dogs were blowing out so many opponents, and it gave Carson a chance to get a ton of reps through 35 passes last year. And on the first play, he'll hand it off to Daijun Edwards. Edwards has been a finisher the last few years, Stinch. He could be a starter.
Who are going to step up the most in that offensive backfield alongside the quarterback?
Beck surveys the field. This is Cass Jones who makes the catch. Nice job of getting out to the sideline up to the 40-yard line.
But they rotate so much that there's a lot of starting experience at the tackle spot.
Fake to Daijun Edwards all day for Beck to survey the field, and Rosemy Jack Saint, there's a familiar face in the offense. 17-yard completion with a lot of changes at receiver too, Stinch. Marcus is one trusty guy that's been here for quite some time.
And interesting too that they made a point to bring him up a couple of times and after the spring practices, that Rosemy Jack Saint has been able to build on his campaign from a season ago. He'll figure more prominently in the passing game this year potentially.
He had a great 2022, especially when A.D. Mitchell was injured. Beck will throw a floater, and he's got Bowers in stride, and Brock goes all the way down to the goal line. And it'll be marked out inside the 5-yard line. Darius Smith saved the touchdown.
A full slide protection, max protect. Nice clean pocket, but he's matched up with Darius Smith. That's a mismatch every time, right? So if you're Carson Beck and you're looking out there, that's certainly where you want to go with the football. As long as number 19's out in the formation for you offensively, it's probably a matchup that you like regardless.
You mentioned he beat Smith. Bullard is the one that saved the touchdown. There goes McConkey in motion. Edwards slips a tackle and dives down to the 2. Jamon Dumas Johnson, one of those linebackers. It's going to have to be the leader this year, or leaders, I guess, without Nolan Smith.
You know, you think about, a lot of people talk about Jalen Carter and the interior defensive front. Yeah, there's a little bit of turnover. The most solid spot, though, is inside linebacker for Georgia. They've got depth, but they've also got front line experience and top line play. And Dumas Johnson leads the way, he along with Smile Munden.
And on an end around, it's Arian Smith to the edge. Touchdown, Red Team. Junior from Bradley, Florida, who's been banged up quite a bit the last couple of years, is healthy at the beginning of 2023.
Great job on the edge. Talked about Bowers earlier. Also, Oscar Delp on the edge and able to get Arian Smith out there into space. You think about that, the speed that he has, and that's something that they talked about as well, the speed that they have at receiver. The ability to stretch the field downfield, but also horizontally.
The black team will get the football for the first time today. They will continue to run from the goal line, just show off this talent and the speed. This is Mekhi Muse. And that's 98 yards. They're not letting them field the kicks, but they're letting them run for the goal line, Stitch. See what their kickoff team looks like.
You can see Coach Smart. He's walking back up saying, yeah, that's good. But we're going to start this from the 30.
Nice run. Now let's see the black team on offense.
That's exactly right. We're not making this a special teams exhibition. You could see right there, easily would have been tackled, was a tag off. That's a whole lot of extra running. But hey, man, you know, make it count, right?
Sophomore from Grayson, Georgia. Got some playing time last year. Brock Vandegrift's turn. Rolling out, throwing underneath, and getting drilled on the first play is Lawson Lucky. C.J. Allen coming in there to make the big hit. Incomplete.
We heard a lot about Lawson Lucky in those meetings yesterday. A guy that enrolled early, participated in all the bowl practices, and said they caught the eye of a lot of the veteran players because he was not scared to be physical.
Sophomore from Bogart, Georgia. Everybody wanted to recruit this kid a couple of years ago. Sitting behind Beck, Bennett, Daniels, and a bunch of others the last couple of years. He'll take off, show off his speed. Maybe this will help him win the job. He's onto the other side of the field down at the 47-yard line. That was obviously a big key of Stetson Bennett's success.
No question.
Is taking off like that. It's 23 yards.
It's a great point. I mean, it's definitely a factor. You talk about how you're going to decide who your quarterback's going to be, and it's something that the coaching staff and Coach Smart mentioned, that he's come to value the mobility at quarterback more and more.
Mr. Georgia a couple of years ago in high school fakes the handoff, wants to throw the deep ball, and down there's Jackson Meeks. The flag comes in. 3rd and 17, empty backfield. Vandegrift will swing it out over there to Miles Thornton, and he'll only pick up a few, and that'll be 4th down.
Great range by C.J. Allen. We're talking about some of these new faces, that time able to get all the way to the sideline. Speed more than anything else. You know, these guys, it's not like you're taking DBs and pushing them towards the line of scrimmage. You know, that's like back in the 90s, the FSU type defenses. You're talking about guys that actually have size that can flat out move and string out your offensive plays where you run out of room on the boundary.
And they also have to replace Podlesny, the kicker from last year. Maybe it'll be Jared Circle. This is from 42 yards away, and he sneaks it in there. Red 7, black 3, 6:17 to go in the first quarter on a beautiful spring day in Athens.
Very emphatic boom, followed by some other descriptors.
Beck rolls out wide open is Oscar Delp.
Uh-oh.
Maybe we'll see a lot more of him this year. Darnell Washington literally and figuratively figuratively took up so much space in the lineup. You also have Lucky as a true freshman that's in there too. Bowers has obviously got his spot, but is there one for Delp this year?
I think so. I mean, you see the dimension, 6'5", 225. He dresses bigger than that, though. He looks bigger, plays a little bit bigger, especially later in the season. You know, he was getting his, kind of sticking the face in the fan in some of those run blocking schemes. Coach Bobo, the coordinator, was in that tight end room last year, knows him well.
Beck looks around, another wide open player. It's McConkey, puts his foot in the ground inside the 10, first and goal, red team.
Well, you had to know that they were going to get it to Ladd eventually, right? And he just makes big plays. One of those guys that takes something that looks more razzle-dazzle and makes it, can look almost ordinary. I think that's become a welcome sight in this offense. And, of course, Carson Beck put it right on the money. He is 100% passing, 6 different receivers. Heck of a start.
An old familiar face. Savon Clark takes off, gets around the corner, and another red touchdown.
Number 20, Savon Clark.
Stiff arm from Clark. And Malachi Starks, he was coming up in run support. He just got denied. Nice point of attack, able to collapse. You see Malachi Starks, he's there. He's the free hitter. He's not capable to make that play because Clark just stiff arms him. A little face massage.
Is that what that was?
Yeah. Through the face mask. That's what the visors are for.
Darius Smith had a chance at him too, and
yeah.
Clark, a hard runner, has been a special teamer the last couple of years, trying to fight for some playing time this year. Happy birthday, Whit, by the way.
Oh, nice.
Gunnar Stockton is out there. We were talking about him at the beginning of the show, Stinch. Maybe he's got a crack at this with Beck and Vandegrift. Gives up a little bit of size. He's pressured, and he'll throw over to the sideline. He's 6'1", 210 pounds, 2-3 inches shorter than Vandegrift or Beck.
Still couldn't slow him down. And it wasn't as if he's throwing to all elite players.
Over from Tiger, Georgia. Underneath throw, incomplete, and good coverage there too by A.J. Harris, who had Tyler Williams bottled up. Lasky, number 58, the junior from Falkville, Georgia. Here he is.
Another multiple versatile guy who can play multiple spots, play center and tackle. I think it's a weird combination. We talked to Cedric Van Pran Granger, and he was like, hey, man, this guy's over here arguing with me about calls because he knows them.
Yeah.
He knows what it's supposed to look like at center.
He was great on that. Delp gets a step, but lost it, looked like in the sun. It's shining down on him right now is Carson Beck's first incompletion. It's a good ball, though. It just, it's like playing center field.
You nailed it. He clearly lost that ball because this is a catchable ball. You could see it, and he had left room for Beck to pull that ball down the boundary, a little bit outside his outside shoulder. But you're right, otherwise it was an unblemished passing performance for Carson Beck prior to that throw.
Gets back on track with an underneath throw. Caught by Dominic Lovett, that Mizzou transfer. Expected to have a big season for Georgia this year.
See the left tackle there. Hands to the face, happens all the time, never gets called. Blasky does a good job of anchoring versus Darius Smith, one of those guys that Coach Schumann talked about it. He's got great length.
We watched Lovett go off against South Carolina last year when he played for Missouri, 148 yards receiving in that game. Beck throws the ball, and it's complete to Bell. Dylan Bell in traffic, too. Goes up and gets it for 30 yards.
Safeties, they should be excellent communicators.
Beck, over the middle, touchdown to Arian Smith. One rushing, one receiving for Arian. Smith, a top 10 pick. Get back to that graphic in a second. Broderick Jones, also expected to be a first rounder. Nice rollout there by Stockton, finding Jackson Meeks.
that journey been for you? He's like, it's a little bit stressful. I'm ready for it to be over. I just want to know where my new home's going to be. Wherever that is, you're getting a hell of a player in Chris Smith.
I think you're getting a hell of a player in Lawson Lucky. He might be the next big tight end for the Georgia Bulldogs. Took a big hit there, but made that 22-yard completion from Vandegrift.
Vandegrift didn't flinch at all with the pressure oncoming. Of course, he knows he's clean. It's not easy to remember that. And Lawson Lucky, we talked about his toughness and his diligence. He passed up playing in one of those, victory lap type all-star games for these high schoolers. He wanted to stay here and practice with this program, and he made a very positive impression on his teammates.
Took a hit from Ja'Cory Thomas. Good catch by Meeks, and he's down. He's not down yet. He's fighting the whole red team all the way to the end zone. And they're going to give him a touchdown. It's 29 yards for the junior from Phoenix City, Alabama. Number 99 is not out there for Georgia. Tom Van Haren of ESPN just tweeted out he confirmed with Georgia defensive lineman Bear Alexander that he's planning to enter the transfer portal. Of course, he was the number 56 overall prospect in the number 22, the 2022 class, and he was a contributor, Stinch, on this team last year.
A guy that definitely flashed at times as a true freshman. Kind of flipped even during his commitment. He was committed to Georgia, then he was committed to A&M, then he committed back to Georgia. You can see the fluidity, we'll call it, of these rosters. Today's the first day of the transfer portal. It will extend through the balance of this month. But fascinating, the timing of this. It'll be interesting to see what the impact will be, because we did hear about him in meetings yesterday, a guy that they think in the short area shows great burst, great quickness. Unsurprising given the level at which they recruit here at the University of Georgia. That's not necessarily separate and apart from these other guys, but what could be a special player that's entering the portal.
And I want to ask you more about the defensive line, because we just showed you Jalen Carter could be one of the first picks taken in the draft, as that back shoulder pass won't work. He was looking for Dylan Bell. It'll be third down. What do you make of Georgia's defensive front going into the year?
No, it's interesting. I agree with what Coach Trey Scott was talking about. These guys are going to have to play together. They're going to have to complement one another. You don't really have that anchor talent. You don't have a guy like a Jalen Carter who's a game wrecker. But do they have the pieces? They absolutely do. But that does change things a good bit. When we lose a guy like number 88 from a season ago in Carter, it's not like you just plug and play.
Muse, who returned a kick for a touchdown, and Kirby Smart decided it didn't count. He returns a punt, this time past midfield. Going back to that defensive line, Zion Logue is expected to be maybe the vocal leader of that defensive front. There's a lot of solid SEC players, maybe some of the best players in the SEC on the defensive front, because they're playing for the best program. But we still wonder who's going to emerge as a star, if you will.
No question. And from the inside out, and one of those players who was kind of earmarked for that, as you see big Zion Logue on the sideline. But the offensive front holding up relatively well with a couple of new faces, especially at those tackle spots.
See what Stockton does on a 3rd and 5. He's got time. He's going to throw the one-on-one ball, and that is perfect back shoulder to Zeed Haynes.
A.J. Harris in coverage, and you nailed it. Just so difficult to play. So Gunnar Stockton lays it out here. He's playing the back shoulder of this throw. Does a great job of coming back for it. Turn around, can you locate this ball? Puts a lot of pressure on the secondary to make a play on that ball in the air. Let one play turn into two.
Robinson carries the defense inside the 10. It's marked down at the 7. It'll be 1st and goal. Let us make any tackles in this game. It's all offense. Got to be careful with these guys. Here comes the edge, and it's a touchdown run for Gunnar Stockton. Gunnar showing off that speed at 6'1", 210 pounds.
See Lawson Lucky crossing the formation, getting out there on the edge, and Maybe a little tug there, right? Gets away with it in the spring game.
Yeah.
That was being observed to the official. Hey, Corey Thomas is like, my jersey, the neck of it wasn't quite this stretched out just one play ago. Maybe one of the more important precepts offensively. Know thyself. What do you do well? What has worked for you? Well, this has. Of course, Coach Bobo will have his fingerprints on this offense. The last time Mike Bobo was the offensive play caller.
Beck going deep and lots of coverage there. Malachi Starks all over Dominic Lovett. There's the other boom. Will Muschamp, co-defensive coordinator for Georgia with Glenn Schumann. That defense was sensational each of the last 2 years, especially last year as he became the co-defense coordinator.
Those Raiders are now a permanent fixture on game day. Used to, they'd come on and off.
Yeah, when he was with the Gamecocks, he would they're called cheaters for a reason, but now they never come off. 51-yard field goal attempt for Liam Badger. Transfer from Kennesaw State. See what kind of leg he's got. Can he curl it in there? He can.
Wow.
Just a slight baby draw. He uses the wind to his advantage. And Georgia's red team now leads 27-16. 24-16.
Yeah, break this down. You've been talking golf. You were in Augusta. Look at that thing just sneak in. Wow.
Well, listen, I mean, if you're going to play at the best courses in Georgia, you have to have a little baby draw. That's what Bob Jones always said. Got to be able to play it from right to left, and Badger did that perfectly.
A little situational football here, hurrying things up after picking up the first down under a minute to play.
1st and 10, Stockton throws, and he steps into it perfectly to Muse, and he's off to the races. Inside the 20, getting some blocks. Down inside the 5.
How about Muse here in the first half? Now, a couple of them have been on returns that probably would have been whistled dead. Nice pocket this time, drives that ball in there. Like Terrell Foster might have been able to get a hand on it. Instead, Muse, boy, he's taking advantage of his opportunities here in the first half. Even created a few.
I think Kirby Smart telling us yesterday that if you want to win a national championship, you can't think of anything that's happened prior to that. You have to think about what's in front of you. You're not defending anything. This team has not achieved anything yet. You have to have that sort of mindset if you want to do it again.
Yeah, he talked about that. Zion Logue, I think, brought it up where he said, look, outside the guys in the first 4 rows, the rest of y'all haven't participated in championships. And the balance of that room's gone. We don't get to keep these rosters year over year.
Well, they're going to give the defense the win on that one. Damon Wilson got to Stockton. Mark back at the 12. 25 seconds to go in the half. Stockton throws over the head of Jackson Meeks.
More opportunities here. They talked about this in practice even, where they ran, I think, 20 straight third down plays in a row. So here's 3rd and 11. Goal to go situation. Can you find a way to make a play right here? And can you be smart with the football as well? They talked about some of the boneheadedness of the quarterbacks. That is a word. Well, I'm getting some looks like I made it up. I think the coaches used it. Bottom line is be smart with the football, especially when you have a scoring opportunity at the end of the half.
We knew what you meant. Stockton, it's deflected and incomplete, almost intercepted. Jordan Hall got his hand on it. 4th down. This will be a 30-yard field goal try by Zirkel with 16 seconds to go in the half. (24-19) the score. Well, there haven't been many that have gone 15-0 or better since we've gone to this college football playoff structure as we've reached halftime. Yale, Penn, Clemson, LSU, they all did it. Clemson and LSU in consecutive seasons, and now Georgia does it in 2022.
All right, Coach, as we're starting the second half here, Gunnar Stockton on the field, what are the things that you are looking at when your QB's out here?
Well, I want to hear them communicate. You know, they're talking to the running back, talking to the tight end, making sure everybody's lined up. We may have a motion or adjustment, so I like to see them handle that. We got a little boundary pressure here coming at Gunner. Let's see how he handles it.
Gets it out of there quickly.
Quick, good.
Yep.
Got a completion. It's another completion for us. That's good. But I like seeing them interact with the players, you know. We don't do a lot of huddling, so you don't get to see them talk in a huddle, but you get to see them talk once he gets the signal. So right now he's looking over to get the signal, and we get to see how he interacts with the players after that.
Coach Bobo was talking about how much pressure you guys have put on these guys to build in that leadership category. How do you coach a guy to be more of an effective communicator?
Well, we have a lot of meetings, and we ask kids to stand up and talk in our skull sessions, and they get kind of comfortable talking in front of a group. And we found that if you will talk in front of a small group, eventually you'll talk in front of a big group, you know, and we try to get them to do that. So, good play right there. Lord. Freshman right there, Joe Nell. It's a great play by him. He's a really physical player.
I was going to say, defense looked a little better there, huh?
At least that play, you know. Now we got a second long. It's the first time we've had him behind the chains. You know, when you think about it, the offense is 1 first down most of the scrimmage. There's 21 mid-years out here, so it's really cool to watch a kid play his high school season, and he's out here playing at Sanford Stadium, you know, 3-4 months later.
How about big number 7 right in front of us? Lucky, your new tight end. Georgia fans are really excited about him. What have you seen from him today?
He's toughness. He's got, you know, a dad that played here. He's one of the toughest guys I've been around as far as playing football. He does a really good job of that, so it's fun to be around him. I tell you, he's a kid that took advantage of, he didn't go play in all these all-star games. He just said, I'll stay here and practice with the Georgia Bulldogs. So he had 15 to 20 practices of semifinals and the finals game that he practiced with our team. So he's so much further ahead.
Yeah, I have to imagine that size helps y'all prepare for playoff and national championship as well, right?
Yeah, he was a really good player during that time, too. He was a scout team tight end, and all the older players were like, dang, who is this dude?
Throughout spring in this game today, is there anyone else who has jumped out at you and really impressed you for their play so far? No, you're good, Coach. Coach got a coach. We're going to let him go for a second.
Well, we've had several guys jump out. I don't like singling anybody out, but we've got that group of 21 young players has been incredible. They have been so hard practicing. A couple guys we got out of the portal. You know, Ra-Ra's made some plays in spring, and so has Dom Lovett. They've done a really good job for us. So there's a bunch of guys, and today's a chance for them to showcase that.
You know, someone who seems to have popped today so far is Mekhi Muse. I mean, the speed he's got, certainly on special teams, feels like that's going to be a big piece for y'all.
I tell people all the time, Mekhi Muse has made more plays on the scout team the last 2 years against great defenses. Now, great defenses, he's gone out there and made a bunch of plays, and he's paying off today because he plays every day against one of the best defenses in the country, and he's not afraid to go out there and play right now, and he's done a great job. He's really an explosive guy.
One more thing before I let you go, Coach. We were talking yesterday about how some head coaches talk about maybe wanting to get an FCS opponent or someone else to play during the spring, but you were pretty adamant, and this gets us more reps across our roster. Why is that so helpful for you guys right now?
Well, you got to play a lot of guys to get better, and we're playing 44 guys kind of back and forth. I mean, only 22 at a time, but a lot of guys are getting a start. There's 44 starters in this game. When you play somebody else, like a lot of our the other guys want to do, you get less of that. So I like the depth we have. I like the work we get when we get to do it.
Coach, I appreciate the time and the access. Enjoy the rest of the scrimmage today.
Awesome. Thank you guys for the coverage. We love it.
Yeah, we do too. That was terrific, both of you there. I have a question for you, Alyssa. What is it like having Ty Ingram Dawkins running at full speed right at you?
Pretty terrifying, but when you're on the sidelines in the SEC, you kind of get used to it, honestly. Head on a swivel all the time.
A lesser athlete would have been intimidated. Alyssa doesn't even flinch. Just a small sidestep.
I went to
and then
Orange
continue
Theory
the
this
interview.
morning. I was ready.
Ah, I gotcha. Yeah, dialed in then, clearly. Yeah, you were kind of in the fray a couple of times.
Brock Vandegrift comes back in at quarterback and swings it out there to the sideline to Dom Lovett. And there is why Coach Smart likes the mid-year enrollee from Mizzou, who picks up 20.
But also somebody can get the ball too quickly.
Plenty of time to survey the field. Almost picked off. It is. Tyke Smith makes the pick.
Well, Coach Smart was talking about where are the takeaways. We hadn't seen one. There it is. Tyke Smith, guy's able to climb the ladder. He's largely been hampered with injury. Just been a little bit more limited in the way he can impact this defense underneath that route. Great job of high pointing that football, coming down with it for the first takeaway of the afternoon. Quick change. We talk about nice clean pocket. Wasn't like there was a pressured throw. And coming out of half, we were saying, when you look at most of the throws have been Gunnar Stockton and Carson Beck. Vandegrift hasn't had a ton of opportunity to air it out. And now with a turnover in the passing game.
Let's see if Smith can make the big jump at Georgia in his senior season. Nice slant on a bullet there, caught by Andrew Correa. Stockton has that one batted down at the line of scrimmage.
It's Jordan Hall. I think it was Jordan Hall again.
It's the second time he's done that.
Yeah. Great job. If you're collapsing the pocket, get your hands up in the passing lane. It is. Working against a double team. And of course, the coaching point up front for those offensive linemen is you got to give those defensive linemen a reason to not want to do that. As soon as a guy gets his hands up, as soon as he tries to jump, you have to tip him over. Basically dump him, make him not want to do that. A couple of batted balls right there in the middle. Gunnar Stockton in there. We talked about stature. I wonder if height plays an issue. You got to find those throwing lanes.
Punting on fourth down. And it's caught just outside the 5-yard line.
Love it. Man, we talk about roster fluidity.
Welcome to 2023. Vandegrift, quick throw. This complete to C.J. Smith. Boy, the Dogs have a bunch of wide receivers they're trying out for playing time in 2023, don't they?
They're spreading the ball around quite a bit when you think about it. The looks that they're getting out wide, guys are getting their touches.
He played in a couple games last year against Samford and Auburn. Nearing the end of the third quarter. And this handoff goes to Cash Jones, and Jones has nowhere to go. It's going to be a loss on the play for a couple
of reps, even in season previous years. That's probably the first procedure penalty we've seen.
Black team's offsides, free play. It's intercepted. It's not going to count, though. Javon Bullard made the grab.
We're to solidify that element. They don't want to have any question marks coming out of this program.
That's up in traffic and incomplete. Tried to thread it in there to Braxton Hicks.
Playing with the black offensive front, the black team, with a different unit.
Man, that was a good ball right there to Tyler Williams, a good-looking true freshman from Lakeland, Florida. Had a little zip on that one.
Player of the year up there in Massachusetts.
Beck put it on the numbers there to Williams. He couldn't make the grab.
That time Julian Humphrey got a hand in there to break it up.
If the class of the Big Ten is once again who we think it is, to me, the game of the year in college football, holy moly, what a hit. That is a big one made by number 6, Everett. That's Dalen Everett with the hit. I think the game of the year in college football could be Georgia-Ohio State in the playoffs again. Now, I know it's hard to get there, but given how talented Georgia is, how much better Ohio State has been than most of the Big Ten, could see that matchup again, and that was the game of the year this past year.
Oh, my gosh, that was the national title game, right? De facto. We all saw that in the Peach Bowl and the playoff. That was the best game, most tightly contested, unbelievable finish. Obviously, from Georgia's perspective, a great one. You see ultimately a sack there, slower developing, getting that ball out after the big hit by Everett. But a guy who's not scared to hold his teammates accountable and whose comments they respect. You see flushed out of the pocket is Gunnar Stockton once again.
Damon Wilson.
A guy that we heard his name mentioned a lot. You know, this is another one of these newcomers. A lot of them where back-to-back we're seeing young players emerge at the outside linebacker position where they're probably going to be specific as they won inside. Nice inside move that time.
Not according to the handicappers.
I'd like to know the media member who actually said that.
Oh, it's picked off the carom by Raylan Wilson to the house. That ball went through Anthony Evans, and Wilson ran into the end zone with it.
A couple of takeaways now here in the second half. Coming in hot, See, maybe takes the eyes off a little bit. Like maybe Evans was looking for the big hit, and instead Traylon Wilson going the other way. We talk about, his play. He had a nice tackle, low red zone earlier this half. Now a pick six in the spring game, going the other way.
He's got plenty of time, slings it out complete to Muse again. What a game he's had today.
Where they haven't really tried to target him. I think he just has the one target in this game.
Flushed throws, and they're going to whistle him as being tackled in the backfield by Jonathan Jefferson. It's 3rd and 12. Vandegrift throws, and it's incomplete to be 4th down.
The knock has to be with Bryce is just build, right? The stature that he brings to the position.
There's Lucky again. Good grab down inside the 35 to the 34.
He's been consistent all game long. I mean, they tried to give him the ball first play of the game, right? Took a big shot, bounced right back. First play of the game anyway for the black team offensively.
Now the home run ball. Let's see if he can get it incomplete, but a flag down. Meeks got tangled up with Julian Humphrey.
Pass interference, defense number 12, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Ball was up there for a while. You can see Humphrey. Really, he ended up getting kind of thrown. He got olayed. I'm not so sure Humphrey initiated a ton of that contact. He's also one of those guys that can make his presence felt. Lewis Seen, they said.
Yeah. Oh, nice grab there by Muse to get down to the 10-yard line. Yeah, Aguero's he'd make the late, great Mr. Munson have some things to say about him as a freshman. Muse again, why not? He deserves it. What a game he's had today. Great throw by Vandegrift to catch him in stride.
Look at Muse. Looks like he might be a little gassed. He's done a little bit of everything today. You mentioned it. This is to Muse earlier. Great job. A little bit behind him. This time Vandegrift puts it right on the money. Good placement. Able to run, turn, catch, score. Muse today, that's a pretty sporty line for him. 4 catches, 91 yards, and a tud. And, as you mentioned earlier, right, Taylor? He had a kickoff return for
He did,
touchdown.
yeah.
I mean,
Coach Smart wanted to see that offense play on that drive, so he didn't allow it to count. You can do those sort of things in the spring. Trade players in the middle of the game. Decide where the ball starts. I do like this, though. Coach Bobo was saying this the other day, and so was Coach Schumann, that it's great to have these, 2-minute drills and do a bunch of situational stuff during the spring and all your practices with those scrimmages, but they've called the rest of the game, by the way. We're done. 31-26 the final. Playing a real game against the best team in the country, playing against each other, is extremely beneficial to your team.
Yeah, no question. You heard him. Coach Smart's not interested in really playing somebody else because he knows the level of competition he can get from his own team. One of the toughest teams Georgia faces is in practice. This is a game scenario.
No one has won 3 straight national championships in almost 90 years. Minnesota did that. That's what's in front of Georgia in 2023. Labor Day weekend, the Dogs will be here in Sanford Stadium against UT Martin. Who will the starting quarterback be? Who will the new stars that'll emerge during the season for Georgia and Coach Kirby Smart? For Tom Schofield, his entire production team, for Alyssa Lang and Matt Stinchcomb, I'm Taylor Zarzer. So long from G-Day in Sanford Stadium.